So now I guess it's time for us to discuss about the structure of the government. Now, given the stickiness of the various political structure in place today, I am not recommending any system in particular. Okay, be it a democratic system, oligarchy, meritocracy, or whatever system that is currently in place. I mean, even if we put these totally different government systems together and try to pick the best one, there isn't one. Confucius pointed out very vividly in his teaching of the three systems. So it is not the form of the system that can solve the problem of today's world. So the question is, what should be our focus? What I have to say, the truth is, the ancient Chinese cared very much about the form of the government. They do. And there's always been reforms and changes throughout the history. People has always been looking for the optimal choice of government structure. However, there is a much greater emphasis on the person in charge. With an inappropriate person in charge, the best system can produce the worst social outcome. In other words, we should disregard the differences between various political structures and focus on the education of the leader. The traditional Chinese culture has a great deal of teaching on the human resource management of government officials. And many of these are summarized in the book of Governing Principles of Ancient China. In this lecture, we'll share with you two features of the management system. The first feature is the education of future kings. Now, as we have seen earlier, because the prosperity of the king's line is closely tied with the prosperity of the countries for many generations to come, the king makes sure that all of the sons, i.e. potential future emperors, received the best education. Now, each of them were assigned to a highly respected officials who educate them about ethics, morality, and the principle of causality. For the training of the successors, there is substantial emphasis on the ethical development and personal discipline, apart from the academic learning. So that's the first thing. The second feature is the selection criteria of government officials. Among many qualities and boxes to tick, if you like, two things that the ancient rulers valued very much was the filial piety and integrity. Filial piety is the virtue of respect for one's parents, elderlies, and ancestors. This is quite unique to the traditional Chinese culture, and even for some modern Chinese ourselves, the relationship between filial piety and human resource is not perfectly understood. However, I can assure you, since human nature is not unique to the Chinese, this relationship is not only universal, but also time invariant. Now, let me explain that. Overall speaking, a person's filial spirit has a direct impact on this person's loyalty. In a workplace, it is loyalty to the managers. At the country level, it is a loyalty to the government and the country. So here's the rationale. The person with a filial spirit knows about obligation, knows about responsibility and paying debt of gratitude. Now let me ask you, among all people on earth, who are the first ones to whom we owe a debt? I suppose it's the parents. I mean, it's almost impossible to come up with a rough figure, just how much energy is spent in taking care of us when we were, younger. But if we dare to try, we can think about the number of hours of work in, let's say, food preparation, taking us to school, other after-school activities, cleaning our rooms, helping us with our homework, etc. The list is far from exhaustive. But it's simply too many to write. Financial-wise, our parents pay for just every little thing that we consume, right? From lollipops, toys, clothes, food, mountain bikes, movie tickets, to tuition fees, that's expensive, health insurance, dental costs, surgeries, medical, etc. But also, apart from physical nourishment, there are mental support as well. But this is something that we tend to overlook. Our parents simply worry very much about us. For example, how did we cope with our first day at school? How did we cope with our second day at school? Or why do we suck at math? Why are we sad? How can we stay happy? And if we get sick, there are 100 questions they ask themselves, what went wrong? When we sit, let's say, national exams or attend a job interview, they are as nervous as we are. They just don't tell us. So being a parent is a job that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even when we are, old enough and can manage a lot of things ourselves, our parents still worry about us. There's always something to worry about, isn't it? I mean, even if we tell them there is nothing to worry about, they still do it, because that is human nature. Now, if I ask you again, just how much debt do we owe to our parents? I guess it's beyond our wildest imagination. Everyone knows that as part of the social interaction, if a friend helps us with something, we owe them a debt. And at the next opportunity, we'll just pay them back. And that's how we maintain friendship and act as a good person, isn't it? For parents, this shouldn't need any prompting. So, a person who is not filial isn't really fulfilling the fundamental responsibility, if you think about this. Not only are we filial to our parents, but also to elder brothers, sisters, ancestors, all of those people who have made our life and wisdom possible. Therefore, the expectation of filial piety of a person is not an arbitrary regulation. It is simply a fulfillment of human nature. So, if a person is not filial to the parents, we can say that he has not established the basic sense of gratitude and responsibility. Would you appoint a person without a sense of responsibility to high official positions, which entails a huge responsibility to the country and the people? Would you trust a person with no sense of gratitude to support you in both good and bad times? A person who is not filial to his parents cannot possibly be loyal to his superior and cannot possibly take on the enormous responsibility as a government official. It just doesn't add up. Now, in the classics of filial piety, Confucius said, filial piety can be transferred to loyalty to the ruler. A person who is able to manage family well can also perform well as a government official. Now this principle is rather scientific. This forms the basis of government official selection. Now, because we cannot expect everybody to understand the importance of filial piety, moral education becomes very important. So, if we review the two features of government human resource management of ancient China, we can see that education is the key, absolute key, of good government. And again, it's about the person in charge. Although we showed you that the importance of moral education under the political structure of ancient China, it is equally suitable to any other system, including modern democratic system. For example, given our understanding of the function of filial piety in politics, recruitment of any party members should demonstrate the assessment of filial spirit as well as integrity and superior morality. So this way, the election of the party can easily factor in the overall moral standard of the party members or the party climate. We said earlier that we'll come back to the concept of harmony between loyalty and democracy. So I hope now you are able to see why loyalty to the ruler and democracy can coexist. In Confucianism, the ruler is not chosen by the higher power or empowered by mysterious force. It is chosen by the people, based on the assessment of moral standard. The person with the highest moral standard is selected as king, and the one who acts against human nature is overthrown by the people. This is democracy. Now, with such a morally superior man being assessed, being scrutinized, and empowered, people naturally come to him without force, because they know that this person can love them as his own children, and justice will prevail. And this is loyalty.